Good morning, everyone. As Brad said, my name is Jeremy Bourland. I'm one of the dynamic sales executives here at Turnkey. So now we're going to shift gears and take a little bit of a dive into the Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central solution. This really is a great product that Microsoft has positioned in the ERP space for SMB businesses. So hopefully we'll give you a good overview, give you some background information on the ideas of the product and the key features and functions. After I give you a high-level overview of the features and functions, we're going to switch it over to Bill, who will do a deep dive into the actual product and show you some of the specific features and functions. As we're talking to customers like you and prospects out there in the industry, I'm actually coming across very common challenges across the board. What we're hearing a lot for customers that are outgrowing their current ERP or accounting systems are really common factors. One is insufficient reporting, not being able to get the data they need when they need it to make those business decisions that are required to make the business profitable. Duplicate data, and I'm not sure how many of you on the webinar have multiple systems that you're having to maintain today, doing multiple data entry in separate systems, trying to keep track of that data, which we all know can cause data entry errors and complicated business processes. Manual processes as well. When you've got multiple systems, you might have a user who's having to rekey information, which not only takes extra time, that can also yield additional errors which can impact your overall reporting. Siloed systems, really, as well as security issues. Being able to track those changes from a security standpoint, audit trails, workflows, business process. We all know that more and more in today's day and age, it's very important to be able to track where those changes occurred, who is responsible for those transactions, and as a business owner, how can I control when those transactions are made? So when we take actually a look at the Business Central application, some of the things that I like to point out right away is the Microsoft Dynamics Business Central solution really allows you to work smarter, not harder. And how it does that is by connecting your business into a single source. So again, taking those multiple sources of information into one screen where you can access everything about your business from a single source, being able to make smarter decisions. So having that real-time information and that real-time data to see how is my business performing at this exact time? Are there certain areas or portions of my business that require my immediate attention? Being able to see those on a live tile dashboard, being able to leverage Power BI as well as artificial intelligence, Cortana, all the great Microsoft tools that are out there that are actually embedded in the Microsoft ERP solutions like Business Central, and also being able to start and grow easily. One of the main concerns I hear a lot with customers and prospects is I'm outgrowing my current system. I've got all these disparate proprietary applications. But my main concern is, how do I tackle this all at once? Well, Microsoft Dynamics Business Central actually positions you to be able to implement a new mid-sized ERP solution, start with what you need, as well as be able to grow easily in the future and add on additional modules and features and functions as you may need them. I think this is a great graphic that, of course, Bill will dive a little bit deeper in from the demo to kind of represent what's included within Business Central. So it is a single comprehensive solution that manages everything from financial management all the way through reporting, including sales, service, and operations. Even though it is a single source solution for all of your business processing, you still have the ability to connect with third-party applications, payroll, banking, if you have a CRM solution or industry-specific solution you're currently using. Given the Microsoft technology stack, you're able to leverage that and have those communicate back and forth with Business Central. And that, along with a state-of-the-art user interface, not only makes it easy to use and easy to integrate, but also reduces the amount of time it takes to implement and for users to adopt the new functionality. Once we take a look into the actual demo of Business Central, you'll see that within the roles and the features and functions, there's a robust amount of features and functions that are built into the core application. One of the great things about Business Central is the ability to utilize Microsoft AppSource to add industry-specific applications easily into Business Central if you're looking to expand that functionality beyond the core product. So for example, if there's specific industry features and functions that you need to take your business to the next level without having to pay for a lot of customization and modification, you can actually leverage Microsoft certified apps that are out there and easy to plug in that are designed to fit within the Business Central application with little integration and ease of use. In addition to that, you also have the ability to connect external data sources. If you've got Excel, SharePoint lists, CRM records, even Power Apps are easy to integrate with the current Business Central system. From a business process perspective, Being able to control your workflows and add workflows easily is important to every business. You want to be able to streamline those processes. You want easy to create workflows, as well as being able to route documents, your reports, any files that need to be shared. And of course, we want to be able to track those as they're moving throughout our business processes from an audit trail and a compliance perspective. And all in all, when we get to the demo, Bill's going to talk a little bit about roles and enterprise level security, being able to secure that data and those processes so only those users that should have access to those actually do have access, and not exposing any data to users that should not be accessing that information. From a single source of information, obviously managing your business performance is key. We want the C-level executives to be able to log on and get a great view from a single dashboard, a single source on how is my business performing. Dynamics 365 Business Central gives a great opportunity not only to see that information at your fingertips, but also to manage by exception. Bill will dive a little bit more into it when he actually shows the live dashboards, but on the screen part, you can actually see that some of these tiles have red or green behind that, so I can easily see from a single sign-on if there's certain areas of my business that require my action, or if there's certain areas of the business that are performing well. Within all the reports and graphs that you'll see in Business Central, not only can you have a great single view, but you can also drill down into these and actually get the details that represent behind the pie charts or behind the graphs or behind the tiles. We find that with new business owners looking to replace accounting systems or ERPs, having real-time data to help you spot trends, prevent issues. At the end of the day, it's really also about delivering that great customer experience. Having this at one single source of information really helps those businesses take things to the next level. When we talk about advanced analytics, there's a lot of reporting that's built within the Dynamics 365 Business Central application. One of our great resources here is the ability to embed Power BI. So if you need to perform ad hoc reporting or get a deeper dive into the analytical data, you can create custom dashboards for real-time analytics and have those embedded into your home screen. They're very presentable, they're easy to use, they're easy to interpret, and using the Power BI tool allows us to customize those to the business information that you as a business owner would need to make those key business decisions. We hit on earlier the option to migrate or replace your current business process system. Some of the concerns I often hear, especially in the sales world, is concerns over implementation timeframe and cost. Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central positions you to be able to easily and quickly implement a SMB ERP application. You can handle all of your business processes from quotes, orders, invoicing, purchasing, cash management from day one. In addition, we've got tools that are built in to the Business Central application to assist with data migration. So whether you're coming from a well-known financial management or ERP system that would be a competitor, or you've got a proprietary system, we've got tools and files that allow transferring that company financial data into Business Central to be quick and painless. And of course, the most important thing when looking to replace your systems is you don't want it to impact your current day-to-day processing. So choosing an application that has these tools that's easy to implement on day one without causing a large burden on your current day-to-day processing is essential when making your selection. If I could see you all physically, I would actually ask you to raise your hands on how many of you are currently using Office 365 or are familiar with Microsoft Office products. But one of the great add-ons I feel with the Business Central solution is really the look and feel of Office 365. If you've used Microsoft Office at some point in time, you're probably already familiar with the look and flow and the feel. Microsoft did a lot of work on making sure that the look and feel of Business Central incorporated that. That's a great tool because it allows for quick user adoption, reduces the training time, and makes it an easy use interface for users to feel comfortable with. In addition to that, Bill will touch a little bit on the navigation. Beyond ease to use, we actually can create role-specific views. So when there's menus and fields that only a billing invoice representative needs to see, we can actually customize those versus someone who's doing quote to cash or procurement. We can also personalize the feeds and notifications that those users would receive. Lots of ways to customize. One of the great wins also, because being in the cloud and part of the Microsoft technology stack is the integration with Office 365. What that means to business owners and users is integration with other Office 365 applications, including Microsoft Outlook. So imagine being able to manage your day-to-day business processes from within your inbox. So I receive an email from a customer me to answer some questions about an invoice that was submitted. Because of the integration with Office 365, you can actually read, write, and update things like items, sales orders, and purchase orders directly from within your inbox. During our demo of the live system, Bill's actually going to walk through a quote to cash, taking a quote directly from an email received by a customer and walking through the entire process, all connected with Office 365 and Exchange. The additional feature of this is being able to create professional looking quotes, invoices, any documents that you would want to send to your customers, vendors, or third parties. With the integration to Office 365, you're able to leverage that connection to create nice looking documents and items to share. Because we always want to take work on the go wherever we are, Dynamics 365 Business Central also offers the option to be deployed on any device. So the screenshot you're seeing now actually shows a deployment on a desktop, laptop, in addition to your mobile phones, whether it's Windows, iOS, or Android. So there are apps for Dynamics 365 Business Central. It allows those key business parties to see on the go from their phone or tablet exactly how the business is performing, or if there's specific items that they need to address without having to log on or worry about where they are or having access to a certain type of connection. So now we're going to transition over to Bill, who's actually going to take a look into the Business Central application and show some of the features and functions we talked about during my presentation, as well as take a deeper dive into quote to cash. Bill?
Hi, good morning. Hi, I'm Bill Droege, and we're going to go into a live demo now and kind of go through the different applications. Some of this is going to be pretty common to what Chris has shown earlier on. I think the ERP systems now are getting kind of generic, but there are some different, obviously some deeper functionalities in certain applications, and then there's also the look and feel that I think you'll see now in our presentation that we will have an ability to do some of the things that Chris had talked about earlier, but we have the ability to drill down into tiles, workspaces. Again, the idea that we're going to work smarter, not harder. We're going to function, throw activities up that are focused related to KPIs that are measured in your organizations, and you can customize some of these. So right away, some of the things you'll draw, you'll see the color scheme here. One of the things you can do is in those activities, they're built on queues that are set up behind it. And inside of those queues, we can go in and identify, yeah, this is the queues that I want to have on this particular role. And then how do I show favorable, unfavorable conditions? What are the thresholds to go from favorable to unfavorable? So a lot of tools inside the toolbox here in Business Central to allow you to get that real tighter fit. So the systems applications are going to come out fairly horizontal, but you can verticalize them for your industry, for your particular business application, business model to do that. So right now I'm in as a business manager. So one of the first things we have in terms of the navigation is my settings. Who am I? What role am I assigned? What company am I in? Today, what region am I in? And what language I am in. So quickly you can personalize that. So the role center is role-based computing. The idea that we could change a role and I would get a different look and feel, get a different workspace focused on those particular types of transactions. So I have an accountant, a business manager where I'm in now, a dispatcher for customer service, sales order processor. So a basic sales order entry scenario there will look a little different. I've got actually all three of these open up right now, and I'll kind of jump across here. Right now I'm sitting in the business manager. I jump into the sales order processor. I didn't get in there quick enough. It's going to refresh here right now. And then my focus under the sales order processor is obviously sales orders, sales quotes to orders, how long have orders been in process, are there any delays, what's my average delivery or order processing time. So the other things about Business Central, it's in the cloud. We're really talking about a cloud based application now. We've got all the capabilities inside of BI, business intelligence, that's built in, embedded in the system, embedded into the roles and the workspaces. So again, in an order process here now, I can see my particular customer transactions, the customers I'm trying to keep track of, maybe my large customers or somebody that I'm working with that's had an issue and I want to keep them in front of me. I've got sales order processing. I've got my particular top items that I use, kind of my 80-20 list of items that I can quickly grab or keep track of. In a project management focus on my workspace here, now I'm going to be able to see open jobs, things that I need to invoice, projects that are ongoing and where they're at in different stages, how they're going across there using the particular BI applications that we have embedded in that workspace. So very quickly, it's customizable workspace. We can focus these queues as we'd like. Again, there's always a kind of a quick access based on the workspace of the role. What am I doing here? I'm going into sales. I'm going to add a new sales quote. Quickly click the button, click through to do that. The click through and the hyperlinks are embedded throughout. I'll open the chart of accounts here. Quickly, I'll see a balance in any of these accounts. I can click through the balance and kind of drill down to that audit function that Chris showed you earlier, where you can just drill in, see the information, drill down into a transaction, see where that transaction came from, who was involved in it, what was involved in it, go back, and then if you had to reverse it or correct it, you could do those functions as well. The other part of the roles and the hyperlinks is then also you have the ability, because we're in the Microsoft stack and the Office stack, I can quickly go out and open Outlook or open the other Microsoft tools here to get through, completely connected, again, in Teams and SharePoint and things like that, your Business Central. So it's a single sign-on into your Office or your O365, and then you can open up both Business Central, Outlook, any of these applications simultaneously and going back and forth between them. And the integration, I'm going to show you in a bit of how we work right through your Outlook inbox to create transactions and to track customer information. So the other thing is, if I just launch back to my starting point on the look and feel, I'm just clicking into my heading to get back to my initial workspace. The other point I wanted to make on the settings is also the capability to have multiple companies. So this is all the same, multiple companies, basically as many as you want for the same license price. So we've got a bunch of demo companies set up in here. Customers of ours have different organizations and, across countries, and each of these companies can have different currencies and different languages to do that. So if you're in an organization with multiple company structure, be very easily to do that. You can have a common chart of accounts to do intercompany processes, or you can have unique accounts and then have that arm's length relationship between the companies. The other piece that's really powerful inside the system is the actual workflow capability. So if we're going to do purchase orders or counting entries and we want them approved at certain levels, we can set up workflows. The system actually comes delivered with some standard workflow templates, so that we can go into those and quickly take those and just apply your unique application of it. So if it's overrides, they have to be over $500 or $200 or whatever the case, in different options on purchases or different transactions, then we can apply those specific thresholds into the workflow and then have those set up the approvals inside of these templates. So out of the box, it's very simple to engage and enable workflows in your organization. A lot of warnings as well inside of the application as we go through customers and sales. You get alerts in terms of credit limits and things along that way, out of stock alerts in terms of product. The other scenario, we can show a lot of graphic capability inside. So we got a picture of a particular user inside of a company. Look up here. We can change that layout view to just be a list. And I just have the kind of more traditional list of customers here, and then I can drill into the customers. Again, we're always showing a Power BI application related to that particular customer. What's his sales look like over time? What's his open transactions look like over time? So again, I can go into an account and go locally to their particular transactions. Very simple, a couple of clicks to get there. I'm going to go back to the item level. So again, customers of ours have multi-company scenarios. They have multi-location scenarios. So in an item setup, we can set up multiple warehouse scenarios and track inventory levels at that level. We can also do the serial number lot tracking as well if that's a scenario in your business model. Again, the pictures now of the graphics of the items in the item masters will allow you to also integrate to content that you might have on your website. So we can populate this data into the item cards and then populate it out if you want to sync up your website. So maybe you have image changes or description changes or basic items that have different categorizations that you want to sync out to your website and make changes here, so you're controlling the data inside the application and then send it out to your site that your customers might use. The attributes that you might use for search criteria are other things that you can maintain on the item card. I'm going to go a bit to financials if I can for a bit. Standard chart of accounts kind of set up. One of the things we do here as well is in the chart is we have dimensioning capability, on unlimited dimensioning capability on top of the chart of accounts. So you can get very granular on it. You can have just a basic, the common account number, and then dimension beyond that to segments like departments, locations, subcategories. You could go down to a resource or salesman level or sales group level, customer group level, things like that we've seen our customers do to generate financial reporting related to that and do standard reporting that we have. And out of the box, we have all kinds of accounting reports, chart of accounts, listings, trial balances, balance sheets, income statements, a lot of different capability here to do that. And then also the system sits on top of, obviously on top of the Microsoft stack. So we have a built-in Excel add-in capability. So if I was going to do a journal entry or I had a regular journal entry I did monthly, I could quickly launch this out to the to Excel and edit in Excel. When I throw that out to Excel, it'll populate out my transactions, and maybe I want to make a change to this in Excel. I'm just more comfortable working in Excel. I might highlight a couple of lines and delete them. And then basically what we have here inside the Excel add-in, if you're familiar with it, I could either refresh and pull the data back out of Business Central, or I can publish it back in. I'm going to go ahead and publish it. It's going to tell me, yeah, I've deleted 2 rows. It needs to update those 2 rows. And it'll publish it back into the system and populate that. Our customers use this quite frequently for their standard entries to be able to quickly populate those. Any kind of repeatables. We also hold standard journal entries or regular entries to be able to just pull them through the system. So when that comes back into the system, it would update this journal and drop those lines off. Workflows. The system out of the box does, well, 2 levels of licensing basically. There's a Business Essentials and there's a Business Premium. Premium would allow you also have access to production or manufacturing as well as service. We create service calls and create and track service, your service organization through that. So you can have a dispatch capability and route service calls as well. I'm looking at the standard Essentials. It does provide project management, which will give you the ability to create projects, track projects, allocate costs, both labor and expense costs into the project, measure it over time, create budgets off the project, and measure those jobs to budget against actual. Again, a different set of activities that we're managing in the different roles. So quickly, I'm going to see a different set there, and then I'll see the different Power BI embedded here that I'm tracking my jobs versus sales orders on a different role. Credit card capability interfaces to third parties. I think Jeremy has gone through and talked about the App Store, which is the ability for you to go out and add other extensions of Business Central. There's a lot of companies that are adding applications out there, and that they've already been certified by Microsoft to be able to extend Business Central. So when you go to that App Store, quickly you can go out and say, yeah, I want to add some additional functionality, and I can go out and pull that in. A lot of these are capability to do a trial basis to set them up, see if they are the fit before you commit to them. The other part of the application and the implementation process is we will deliver a sandbox or development environment. So you have both a production and sandbox development environment, and you can go and test drive different functionality configurations in the sandbox and then promote that stuff into production once you've understood that it's going to function the way that you expect. You can try some of these additional apps source applications and see how they fit and configure them that way. The dimension capability, as I mentioned, gives you an extension on the financials, and the dimensions can then be set up so that they're just naturally pulled through. So if I associate certain customer dimensions, I assign them onto a customer, they'll naturally flow through sales transactions. If I assign them to the products in terms of certain product dimensions, in terms of categorizations of products, those types of things, they'll naturally flow as the items come through sales transactions to flow into the postings from the general ledger. So you can quickly get a sales dimensional reporting that'll show you customer groups, product categories, locations, sites, those type of things are just some standard setups that we have here for dimensional analysis. Another big piece in terms of the financials is the ability to have some customization in terms of look and feel of the reporting. So one of the things we do there is we go in and develop schedules. So these are kind of the standard schedule to identify where certain reports and allow you to create kind of your own custom allocations there and analysis to do some mathematical formulas and accumulators and things that within it. So I'm just looking into the cash flow schedule here, and if I wanted to go in and run that and preview that, it would come out and pull these particular accounts out that I've got set up for a cash flow schedule. So I've got my revenue accounts, I've got various payment categories inside of that. So all these will come to both the screen, can be printed, can be set out in PDF. And the setup there inside of the schedules will allow you then to customize these. So as I showed the cash flow, or say a mini trial balance here, if I go into the edit of that particular trial balance, it'll show me how it's currently configured. So I've got rows and columns here that I'm going to display. I've had certain accumulators of certain accounts within that. I do some mathematical formulas here where I'm taking row 10 minus row 20 to get a net calculation here in terms of gross profit. I'm using these three different, these different totals to then do a calculation and multiply, divide, do a math formula on it. How this is presented, we can set these columns out and show these certain columns, have them bold, have them italic, have them underlined. We can show the net change or the net amount, whatever we choose inside of the calculation and the report, and then this would output the report based on this. So you can quickly kind of control different report schedules and have them customized in terms of creating a report writer capability to do some customization in financial reports. These also can be embedded then into the workspace. So as we're up on the finance role, we'll be able to see these different workspaces and these different schedules that you want to have in front of you all the time. Do have a complete pricing capability in terms of customers and products. You can build basically a price matrix by groups of customers, groups of products, individual customers, individual products, to get a pricing structure out there for sales transactions. They have the ability to launch sales orders and sales quotes and send them via email, connected again right through Business Central and its connection to Outlook to be able to drop those through and use that. There's a real nice tool. The toolbox that Business Central sits on is very much state-of-the-art. Again, we have the business intelligence, the AI, the Cortana intelligence, integration of D365. We have the app source that you can extend it. We have part of the license that allows you to have Power Apps, so you can do your own development. You would take a Power App and develop it, test it, and load it in the sandbox, and then promote it. You have machine learning capability, so you start to see some things that the system's identifying what's my top customer, top items, types of things through analysis that it's doing. And then you also have the ability to have APIs. If you have a connection to other customers or your customers, other organizations, you can expose APIs and move data back and forth that way. It's an open architecture in terms of being able to, again, connect to web, connect to other systems, and be able to transfer data back and forth. So I'm going to go through and drop you from the quote to cash scenario that we kind of talked about. And Chris showed you, and I want to show you a common application that way. So I'm going to just jump back here to start my quote to cash entry. So what we can do is basically start the quote in our inbox, out in our email, take a look at it, establish the quote in Business Central, and then send it via email. Eventually we can take that quote once it's confirmed by the customer and convert it to an invoice, post that invoice into the receivables, and then eventually take a payment against it and convert it as you do a cash payment. So here I sit in my inbox, I get an email from a customer requesting a quotation on a couple of our stock items. We drop that through, open up Business Central inside of Outlook, have the ability to go in there and take a look at this account, get some information related to the customer's account so we know he's good, he's creditworthy, we want to start to do some business with him. We drive that through and identify he's got some open issues that I may want to follow up with him while I've got him, or at least respond to those. And then quickly I'm going to drop in and be able to take a look at his account information, and then I'm going to create my quotation. So from here I can create a quote. I could drop directly into an invoice if there was some scenario that I wanted to deliver some service or create something from the system to do that. And then I can actually have a sales order as well. If I didn't want to quote, I could drop to the sales order, put these items right into the sales order where I do a pick, pack, and ship, and send in the materials, and then come back and invoice them. Credit memos as well. Maybe he sends me some information in an email. I want to give him credit for some past sale process that he had. Also can curate reminders. Maybe he's got a past due that we want to try to do some collection. I'm involved in a collection process with him, and I want to send him some reminders. He has some open invoices with me. So all these applications are launched inside of Outlook related to Business Central. So quickly it suggests these items, that these are the ones, yeah, I see. He's asked me about 2 items. Do I want to quote both of those? He's creating the quote, pulls that through, basically gives me a look of the quote, assigns a quote number right off Business Central, so I can go ahead and extend that quote to him. It's now I'm in Business Central now under sales quotes. So I've seamlessly moved back out of Outlook into Business Central, back in my application. I see this quote that now has been created, and I want to send it to the customer. I can quickly just do the send by email, launch that through. We have the integration connected into Business Central to send it back through Outlook to your customer. We've picked up his email address off his customer settings, and here's what it looks like internally into that email. We have basically an HTML look, or can do an attached document as well. This is basically the email statement, and then that's the actual document that looks basically formatted here as a PDF and can be set out there. We deliver sales quote templates, sales invoice templates, purchase order templates. All your documents are standard in BC, delivered inside of the document access. So now I'm going to take that quote and go ahead and make it an order, ship it, and then invoice it. So the customer confirms a quote. I want to go ahead and drop it through. I could have dropped it as an invoice. I'm going to assume I already shipped it to him. So I'm going to make that a quote now, or that order now, into an invoice. Here comes the items. Again, the customer had pricing structure inside the system, or I used the quote pricing that I established when I sent it to him. Now I'm going to go ahead and invoice him for it. Basically, then now I'll sing the same thing. I'll do an invoice, email the invoice from him to him, and send that through the system. Again, using the same methodology, connected to Outlook, populate that with the PDF format of the invoice design, and send that on to the customer. From there, now that's an open and payable. If the customer says, yeah, here's, I want to pay you, here's my check. We do have a credit card integration, so if he wanted to come through PayPal or Microsoft Pay or our standards that are embedded in BC, but we can use most any credit card processor to set it up. So now I've got a payment journal opened up, a cash receipts journal for that particular invoice, and I just need to say, yeah, he's going to pay me the $2,700 related to that invoice, attach it to that particular invoice, go ahead and post it, and clear that invoice. So pretty seamlessly, you know, again, from the inbox through the quotation to a pick, pack, ship, to the invoice, to the completion of that transaction with a cash receipt application. And then basically we're back in to our workspace on to do other things. I just wanted to walk through a few things here in terms of where we see Business Central being applied in our experience in our customer base. Basically, it's a small to mid-sized business, the SMB market, as we call it. Typically, these are growth challenged customers. They're looking for either they're siloed with all these different Excel spreadsheets all over the place, or maybe they've got QuickBooks and are outgrowing it size-wise, or they're on legacy architecture and they need to move forward and take advantage of some of the more current technology. Classically, they're under 100 employees, although we can license from one seat up to as many, scale it up to 100 if you needed everybody licensed. Different levels of licensing that I think Chris will talk about a bit, both a full seat and a team seat where people might just want to track their time, enter their expenses, and maybe just create sales documents. Most of our customers are related into service business models, distribution, financial services, and e-tailers. Been a lot of our activity with our customer base, being able to integrate to these different Microsoft desktop applications, both Office 365, D365 Sales, the CRM product that's been rebranded. They may be connected there. We also have an ability, as we talked about, a little bit of the open architecture to allow to connect to websites and process orders off the website and through the back end, process those orders and post those up through your financials and report on them. Again, a lot of our customers we see are multi-company, where that tends to be more expensive on an on-prem scenario, multinational, which gives them capability, multi-currency requirement, and maybe multi-time zone requirement, and then localization there, which what we find is, out of the box with Business Central. Multi-location, again, you may have a single company, but you got 3 or 4 stores around town in your location, or you cross the country, and you maybe want to have inventory move back and forth, customers localized for local locations. So the system is built on a complete inventory management, inventory transfer system to fulfill locations requirements. It'll suggest replenishment across those locations. Again, the real powerful value here is the Office 365 integration. As you've seen, the capability to have the look and feel of the 365 inside of the application, the Business Central application, allows for quicker training, quicker absorption or adoption by your employees, so that they quickly know where to point and click and go through things to find data and to process their transactions. So the 3 things that we were trying to drive, we started with is connect your business. So the connection capability is really there. We can take these silos and stacks of data that you have around in your system today, move you from the current legacy systems. We have a whole suite of configuration capability inside of Business Central where we can import data from via spreadsheets, connect, get your data that way. We can export data out as well if you had different connections to other systems that you may keep in place. The connection to the cloud and all the Power BI capability, artificial intelligence, IoT, allows you to present data along with the queues and activity workflow capability to help you make smarter business decisions, displayed right on your workspace, pointed at the prioritization of your daily workflow, ability to drill to that, work smarter, not harder capability is built right in. You can see that right as you enter the system based on your role. We focus on the measurements that you measure in your business based on your different functionality in your business. The Start and Grow Easy is a real big piece of what we do. We can start the system very simply with a single user if necessary, pull your data in, get it established, help you grow out to that, add more applications. Maybe you only want to start with financials. Maybe you just want to do sales applications. Maybe you're already embedded in D365 sales and you want to process your sales orders you're creating today in the back end and have it integrated to your financials. Very quickly and cleanly we can do that. We have a rapid start implementation. The implementation time frame is much shorter with Business Central than most of our competitors. We have built-in migrations from QuickBooks to be able to take the data directly from there. We just tell us we're mapping QuickBooks data and it'll bring it right in and populate it in the appropriate areas inside of Business Central. The cost of the system, we're very competitively priced. As you'll see, I think Chris will wrap up and talk about that. We'll talk about lower cost, total cost of ownership. Again, if you're moving from stacks and on-premise applications today, moving into the cloud with all you need is a browser to access your data and get in, will be very much a lower cost. Your IT requirements would be much lower, smaller footprints, smaller cost. We can start with a test drive, one of the offers that we're making in terms of continuing to connect and move along with you as you move through your sales cycle here, as we help you discover your requirements, is we can set up a test drive for you so that you can actually do some hands-on processing inside of Business Central with some sample data, at least mimic your applications through it and be able to see, the fit and feel for it, and we'll help you along the way with that. So any questions? We're going to open it up for some Q&A. If you want to send some questions in the chat, we're going to continue to move forward to the next presentation. But if you have any questions that you'd like to send along to us, we'll respond to everyone. We'll get back to you. Applications, infrastructure, whatever you're concerned about, please let us know so we can respond.
Hey, thanks, Bill. It's Brad here. So we did get one question so far, and that is EDI functionality supported to communicate with customers and vendors with Business Central?
Yes, it is. It's not out of the box. You're probably using, if you're not embedded in EDI, right, you're using one of the ISVs. So off the app source, there's multiple EDI services that you can use that'll plug right in. But the open API and the table structure allows you to take inbound EDI, send back acknowledgments, all your standard EDI trans 850s, 810s, the whole suite.
Okay. That looks like that's it for the questions for now, but we have a couple minutes left in this section. Could you expand a little bit on the on-premise option that's available just briefly for this solution?
Yeah, the history of Business Central was it was really developed out of the Microsoft Dynamics Navision product that is thousands of users across the world, and basically was brought to the cloud and brought the major applications through to it, and then again associated to bring in all of the Microsoft Azure applications, the BI, AI, and all those pieces. So being able to continue to deploy that in an on-premise scenario is there. We basically, again, define the servers below the product. So it is available. It's going to have a little different look and feel than the cloud. And then we're going to have, the maintenance of the servers and the on-prem maintenance that you do today. So application-wise, going to be very much the same. What we present is basically a cloud solution because it has all those tools built in the cloud, and it's probably a little quicker to implement.